This show is sponsored by myoliveleaf.biz, myoliveleaf.biz.
323-646. 323-646. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, and I heard you express your liking for that moist little sissy boy. Can you imagine a black man naming himself after a French king from the Dark Ages, Charlamagne, Charles the Great? Punk ass as he is. And I got somebody sent me a tape of him saying he had sucked this guy's dick. He admired him. And that's just like the other two on that show. Punk. And when they interviewed you, Brother Schoon, by the way, thanks. That was a great time we had in D.C. But when they interviewed you, stop frame what they put on YouTube with you. Do you know there's a rainbow flag behind you on that bookcase behind you?
That's there for every interview. That's part of his setup. Yeah,
I know. I ain't got a damn thing for some Negroes that are so damn stupid that they want to divert attention from the cause of black folk and deal with that Skittles / Taste the Rainbow crowd. You know? That's crazy. And see, he uses that N-word too much. And every time I hear somebody do that, I think of somebody's ignorant great-great-great-grandmama up in the projects with a bunch of little black kids in 1976 and 7 when I was the public defender for this city, calling their little 4, 5, and 6-year-old boys the N-word and dogs and everything else and talking about their daddies the same kind of way, and that spread. See, that's hatred. And I hate that when somebody spouts that kind of nonsense. But anyway, I've vented enough. The little moist sissy boys and girl, I guess, refuse to match my challenge to debate on a neutral set of grounds. See what they're doing. BET wanted me to go in and say something about the killing of Dr. King on a documentary they're doing, and they want Charlamagne to be the narrator, and I said I refused unless they let me debate that fool. Bring him on.
Oh, wow.
Punk ass what manhood is. See, I don't get I'm not tolerant for people who down manhood. And you can go to hell because these people around this country have been down in black manhood for 400 years. And I'll be damned if I want to look the other way when some fool tries to do it now. But that being said, happy holiday to you, brother. And
thank you, Judge, and I'm glad we're friends. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
Because you don't pull no punches.
Yeah, I told them fools, I said, you don't want an old man to whip your ass. That'd be embarrassing.
Radio, DJ. One nation, one station.
All right, guys, you heard the opening audio clip. It sort of, kind of, but not really sets the tone for today's edit. Today's edit will definitely feature snippets from Friday's show featuring Curtis Schoon, who was recently on The Breakfast Club. Big shout out to Curtis Schoon. All right, so this edit will address vigilante justice. It will address our need to have a conversation about these goons, aka the Nickelodeons, in our community who are constantly tuned into the Disney Channel, who only know death and destruction. We need to talk about them because Black business, Black unity, Black love is of the utmost importance. So we need to talk about what we need to do to get rid of the goons. Speaking of goons, I was inspired to do this because of a YouTuber named Dre OG Reacts. Dre OG Reacts recently did a response video to Judge Joe Brown addressing goons in his courtroom. Those goons thought they could shut Judge Joe Brown down, but in return, they got something different. So I thought I would do something different in this edit. All right, guys, meet me down in the comment section. Let's make a difference.
Charlamagne the God, he's naming himself a black man after a white boy in the 7th century who was a psychopath like Adolf Hitler. That's what he named himself. I hope his mama didn't do him the disservice of naming him that. He's a coward. And did you see that video clip where some folk confronted him outside the studio, that punk ass turned around and ran down the whole block to get away. He is a punk and a physical coward, and he ran. And that's what is setting the tone for a lot of this crap. You got an open lesbian, an open gay, and you got a closet guy that even said on that show he'd suck that man's penis.
Are you saying that there's a video where Charlamagne the God claims he would suck on a man's peen?
Yes, he's sitting there in the studio and he's laughing about it. He said it. You can see him saying it. He said, I'd suck his dick. I said, oh, man, even men, you don't even play that. So I don't buy all this concept from these second raters, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, eighth, 10th rankers who are talking about they got to do this so they can keep working. Hell, go get a real goddamn job. You're distracting the people and you're an enemy of the people. You're either part of the solution or you're part of the damn problem. And that's an old political truth that's been around for a long time. So I don't buy it.
You know, the Breakfast Club is on iHeartRadio, right? And these people in high places in media, or maybe they take directives from people in high places in government. I don't know. I find that for them to be such a small percentage of the population, they're being catered to a lot. They have a lot of say-so and influence. I know in media, print media, it's rife with alternative lifestyle people. In television production as well, they're concentrated in certain fields, and they're proud of what they do. I mean, and I don't have a problem with them being proud of what they do. I think the issue is they shouldn't impose it on others who don't partake in that. And that's kind of like where they're running afoul of people, because they're only statistically 4.5% of the population, and some say substantially less than that. But then you have every presidential candidate on the Democratic side pandering to them. Now, if you're trying to get elected, it's about votes and majority. Why is it so important to appease 4.5% or less of the population? See, and those are the questions no one is asking. Is this really about satisfying a significant segment of the population, or is something else going on here? And I think a lot of people are concerned that it might be something else going on. And that's
Let me tell you what that is. Let me interrupt a brief moment, Brother Schoon. See what's going on? See, here, let me say what's going on. The Black Caucus doesn't represent black interests because too many members of the Black Caucus are LGBT. They're practitioners. And what they're doing is using the disguise that they are us to get in position to help out their other dedicated cause, because the sexual response, sexual drive is the strongest human response. And this 4.5% gets in. They aren't doing what they do just for business. They aren't doing what they're doing so much because they may be black if they're black looking. They're doing it because they are dedicated practitioners of LGBTQ. That's their right, but they're defrauding us by confusing the issue by saying we're black, we're the Black Caucus. Damn, you are. Why don't you just say we're black LGBT? They got all these other letters. This just put B in front of it, BLGTQ. And tell the truth.
And to add on to what you just said, I'm not as familiar with the orientation of the Black Congressional Caucus, but I do know that Black Lives Matter seemed to have followed that same blueprint, because it was in all actuality a gay advocacy group pretending to be an advocacy group for black issues and concerned about police brutality. And my thing is, it should have just been called Gay Lives Matter, and that's fine. Everybody's entitled to have their representation. I do not have a problem with that. But you have to ask yourself, why the deception? Because nobody's lynching homosexuals, nobody's targeting them or anything. They all seem to be, not all, but A lot of them are doing well and are in very good positions in life in America, which gives everyone that opportunity. So why pretend to be something that you're not? The national face of the Black Lives Matter movement was DeRay McKesson, an openly gay black man. I don't think this is coincidental. Who did it get hijacked from if 2 of the 3 people were open lesbians? And they started it. And
now, there was a guy who died in a car fire who was actually the person who started it in that area. I wish Ron
Are you
Hurd
talking
was
about
on the
Darren
call.
Shields? Are you talking about
That
Darren
guy.
Shields?
Darren, yes.
Yeah, he didn't start.
Yes.
He didn't start Black Lives Matter. He was part of a different group in Ferguson, and he actually slapped DeRay McKesson, and he died after that. DeRay McKesson, who was the face of Black Lives Matter, when they showed up, he was aligned with Michael Brown's family, and he felt like they hijacked the Ferguson movement. You see what I'm saying? I dedicated my film to Darren Shields. At the end of the film, you'll see his picture and everything. I'm very familiar with who he is, what he was about. I interacted with him on social media. He was not Black Lives Matter. He didn't like that they showed up in Ferguson to co-opt the movement that he and Michael Brown's father had started over there. And after he slapped DeRay,
that's
a year later,
I was left with after listening to his interviews. That's what I thought. He said he started it and they hijacked it.
They hijacked the Ferguson movement, not Black Lives Matter. But when he slapped DeRay, about a year later, he was found dead at 1 o'clock in the morning, with a gunshot wound to his head in a burning vehicle. And they said there's several reports of dead people, dead activists found in Ferguson in vehicles burning. And that's what happened to Darren Shields. And that's why I dedicated my film to him, because I believe, regardless of what anyone may think about Michael Brown or this, that, the other, I looked at Darren as a strong young black man who jumped out there for his people, paid a heavy price, I believe, for his people, and nobody talks about him at all. And I dedicated my film to him for that reason.
Google Black Lives Matter and look at their mantra. Look at the points
it's all
on there about homosexuality
and trans, this and that, the other, and furthermore, I've been to several of their protests while making the film, and it was 85% white people. They received $100 million from think tanks, and some say George Soros. I don't know how accurate that is, but it was reported in April of 2016 in the Washington Times that they received $100 million. Nobody's giving black organizations $100 million to do nothing. They gave it to all those white people, and when you go around all these churches that are intersectional, that hang the same flags, the Rainbow Pride flag, we're against Islamophobia, we're pro-immigration. It's like a network of some sort that's involving politics and different types of religious organizations, and they're all in cahoots with this platform that the Democratic Party promotes. And I don't want to get into all conspiracies and all that.
I think it promotes feminism too, right? Because it sort of kind of excluded the black man from the family.
There's a clear pattern of what's going on. And, of course, black men are excluded. And I just want to add this, and I'm sure the judge could finish it off for me. My issue is the secrecy with the homosexuality. It's used against us, because what happens right now is that the left has seemed to have emphasized black women, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love black women. That's why I got a black woman to make my film. And directed and gave her the opportunity that I don't think anybody would unless she promoted their usual nonsense. But those women tend to be, as Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, or the other one in San Francisco, and various other cities around the country, they tend to be either openly gay, closetly gay, or in interracial relationships. And again, I'm not attacking anybody for any of their choices. You love who you love. That's none of my business. But that seems to be a systematic exclusion of black heterosexual men from spaces of influence and power. Because if the only black women that you're going to uphold are those who don't deal with black men, because they either got a white man like Kamala Harris or they got a white woman like Lori Lightfoot, we can't even get in the door in a secondary role. We are completely boxed out. And as a black man, this is why I support and like what the judge is doing so much. I don't always agree with his delivery, but I know his intent. He's right on it. He's on it. And if any real black man could see that we are being under attack and our own women and the black LGBT are being weaponized against us, and we, the strong among us, have to draw a line and wake up the ones who are sleepwalking and enlist them in the cause.
Let me read from their statement of purpose. This is from the BlackLivesMatter.com site. We wish to make our family spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We wish to dismantle the patriarchal control of the family. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other and the single-parent head of household, as well as the extended families and villages that collectively care for one another. Now, get this. We foster a queer-affirming network. When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking, or rather the belief that all in the world are heterosexual. See, and it gets worse. So that is part of their statement of purpose. Now, who did that? Was that a co-opted organization, or is that the basis for its founding?
That's the basis. And that's why my film was blacklisted and blackballed, because I drew attention to that. But everything else they liked in my film, but I couldn't get in one film festival for an expertly made film. And what these people have done is that they have weaponized black women and the black LGBT against the black community. Black feminist women, let me specify. They have weaponized black feminist women and black LGBT against the black community. And it's just plain as day, because nothing they advocate is universal to us. Why can't we just deal with things like economics that even if you're gay and you go broke, you're going to get divorced? So why can't we focus on money? Because we all need money to pay our bills and have a decent standard of living. When I say black, I don't say black heterosexual. I say black. And no matter what you are, if you're black, I want to see you do good. But that's not their agenda. They put their sexuality in front of their ethnicity, and they do it because they are monetarily motivated. They are rewarded with good jobs on television. They get financial funding when they run for office, and so on and so forth. And this seems like it's aimed at our destruction. I just can't see it any other way. It seems like it's designed to destroy us as a people, as a community. And I just can't stand by and say nothing while that happened, or pretend that I'm rich and party my life away and hang out on golf courses and all that. I just can't do that. I got kids, and they're going to have kids. And I believe it's my duty to do my part to secure their future for them. Not just with an inheritance, but the world we leave them is the world that they inherit. Never mind the money that I leave them. The world that we create today is the world that we leave our children and our grandchildren and everyone that comes after us. And the world that, as I see it today, for us, is not very favorable.
I just read this statement of purpose. What did it say? Make the world queer. They use those terms.
I mean, that's what they've been always about, and that's why I said they should call themselves Gay Lives Matter. And I'd be fine with that. They say Black Lives Matter. Most of us don't go on that website and read anything. We just hear black, and we're like Pavlov's dog. When he hear the bell and start salivating, we hear black, and we just fall into place. Yeah, black. Yeah, racism. We're against the racists. Don't read the fine print. They use black male or tragedy as political currency to advance their agenda, and they was put up to it by their white counterparts. Since 1980, there has been 300,000 black men murdered in this country. But you hear D.A. McKesson and Black Lives Matter talk about 18 transgenders that got killed in 2016 or whatever it was. And one life is too many. But how do you skip over 300,000 black men that got killed? And now I don't know the sexuality of these 300,000 black men. I'm sure some of them were gay. I care about all of them. But these people who claim to be a black organization only seem to care about one segment of the black community. And that's the danger, and that's the deception. And they was put up to that. And they are willing co-conspirators. I call them all bootlickers and bedwenches. When I use the term bedwench, I use that, and like I said, it could apply to men or women. It's just people who sleep their way to success and willing to, subject themselves to all sorts of humiliation to get ahead in life, and sexual humiliation. And that could be anybody, That could be male or female. As a matter of fact, the line for men might be just as long as the line for women. Who knows, But I don't respect those kind of people. If you do what you do, then get what you get, but you can't speak for me. Again, anybody who speaks for me or attempts to speak for me, they have to kind of represent the same values that I have. Otherwise, they can't be my spokesman. I'm not saying they're not qualified for leadership. They're just not qualified to lead me.
Well, look at this. Let me read some more about the statement of purpose from Black Lives Matter. Quote, "We build a space that affirms black women and is free from environments in which men are centered." What did we just get through talking about no gaddy in the house?
No, yeah.
Okay. We make our spaces family friendly and enable parents to fully participate with their children. We dismantle patriarchies and et cetera, so women can mother in private even as they participate in public justice work. We disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure requirement by supporting each other as extended families. And it says, they say we are supporting mothers and children to make them comfortable. It doesn't mention fathers, not one time in here.
Look, we
foster a queer affirming network.
That's the whole thing.
When we gather, we do so with the intention of freeing ourselves from the tight grip of heteronormative thinking.
And you will see young women, black women, who have been indoctrinated with this nonsense all over social media, disparaging black men, attacking black men. There was one infamous one who had a tweet that said black men are the utmost trash. I mean, they hate us, and they've been weaponized against us. And again, not to harp on Ferguson or my film, but at Sundance there was a film called Whose Streets? And it was a chant that had developed in Ferguson when they were protesting. Whose streets? Our streets. A black woman made a movie called Whose Streets that got picked up at Sundance. And with all the real drama that went on in Ferguson, the center of the film was a fictitious lesbian couple and what they were dealing with during the Ferguson riots. This is who they want us to be. And they tell us this in so many ways. And unfortunately, for a few dollars, many of us are in compliance. They're not born gay. Most of these people, they're gay for pay. They're gay for pay. They go where the money is. If you got a choice of being hungry because you can't get a job, or you're just enamored with being around white liberals and stuff, you know what you got to do. And this is what's happening to us. And you can transform an entire community over time by dangling that in front of them, by incentivizing them to go along with what you want them to go along with. I mean, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. Who Streets, a fictitious lesbian couple, in a documentary that's supposed to be about a real racial situation in Ferguson. Again, Michael Brown, black male, killed by police. The death of black men serves as political currency for people who have agendas that don't benefit black men at all. As a matter of fact, it seems to come at our expense.
You know, one thing about this whole situation is black women aren't going out and murdering, robbing, raping, burglarizing, but it's the black boys that are. So everybody is trying to exclude them, but that just makes where we are centered in the hoods more poisonous. Doesn't make sense.
It really doesn't. How do you want to help us but don't include us? You don't want to help us. You want to use our plight to your advantage. Even the girl Bree Newsom, the one who famously, notoriously, whatever you want to call it, climbed the flagpole in South Carolina and took down the flag. It was a white man at the bottom helping her do that. That was her boyfriend. Like this, constantly, they care about black men so much, but they don't want one. Any black woman who's advocating for me, I need to be sure that you love black men. I'm sorry. If you don't love black men, you're free to do whatever you want, but you can't be my spokesperson. I need black women who love black men to advocate for me if a woman is going to advocate for me at all. I need to know that you really love me, that you really care about me. I don't need to see you with other women or other races, and that's fine, that's your business. But that disqualifies you for talking about me, because I can't really trust your intentions at that point. I need to know that you love me. I want to ask you a
question then, Mrs. Schoon. Then I want to ask you a question. What say you then when our black leaders have white wives?
I'm going to tell you a story. Years ago, Donahue Peoples, he's a black, some say billionaire, but he's a real estate developer. He was going to run, he was playing with the idea of running for mayor in Washington, D.C., where he is from. And he has a white wife. And he did a poll, and D.C. had way more black people than it does now, because this was around 2010, I believe. And the poll came back that black women did not view it favorably for him to have a white wife. They weren't going to vote for him, which is why he didn't run, right?
But we're down to the last 50 minutes, and I want your opinion. Okay, what happens when Sidney Poitier, the Byron Allen?
I'm building it up. My thing is, I think Obama chose Michelle so he can win the election. Black men with white women are not well received in the black community. Me, again, my personal opinion, whoever you love is who you love, whether they be a different race, the same sex, or whatever. But the people that represent me, they have to move like me so I know that they identify with the issues that I have. You see, it needs to be close to them. It needs to be like firsthand. I want to see a black man with a black woman speaking for me. It doesn't mean that a black man who doesn't have a black woman is bad. Well, he can support and participate, but he can't be at the front, though. He cannot be at the front. I cannot trust him to lead. Can he be involved? Absolutely. I'll take help from anywhere. But leadership has to look like what the hell it's leading. And that's all I got to say about that.
I only asked that because I know you were going real hard saying, you got to know that the black woman is for you because she's got to have a black man by her side. So that's why I asked you, what happens when there's a black leader? When there's a movie out by, I forget the guy's name, Nate Parker, I think is his name. When he puts out such a,
I didn't support
I just wanted to know how you felt. You didn't support the movie?
Nate Parker and Jordan Peele and all of them who did Get Out, they're black guys and they have white wives, right? And that's fine. Again, I don't care. But I think it's so disingenuous to be somebody who crossed those lines and then turn around and try to exploit the racial emotion from the people who haven't crossed those lines. Why is everything about race for somebody who doesn't care about race?
Your utterance is very emphatic, and I get it. But what happens when a biracial person, such as a Jesse Williams or a Colin Kaepernick, is placed at the forefront?
Listen, anybody can
how
say
can anybody
anything.
speak, Valerie? How can anybody be biracial? America defines that you got one drop, you colored.
I'm talking about leadership. Colin Kaepernick can't be a leader. Jesse can't be a leader. You can't be a leader of black culture. You can be a leader of people no matter what your composite is. But if you say you are representing Puerto Ricans, you can't be Mexican. You need to be Puerto Rican. I mean, that's just elementary to me. And like, if you say you're representing all people, then you could be whatever it is. But if you say you're representing Washingtonians, but you're from San Diego.
President Obama's mother was white. Can we say he was a black president?
No.
I mean,
if I apply your rule.
He's an Indonesian, but he doesn't have any black American in him. None.
But there you have it.
So then
he had his black wife, but that's who validated him.
But
look, he had his black wife, and that's who validated him, and he joined that black church so he could really, assimilate into the black culture and community. He was very strategic, almost like it was planned in advance. I don't know, but again, I don't want to sound conspiratorial.
Of course it was planned in advance.
Well,
they're all related. Isn't he like George Bush's cousin and such and such cousin?
No, it's what it is.
Such relative?
George Herbert Walker Bush, President Bush 1, and Lodo Sotoro, Obama's daddy, were long-term business associates and collaborators through the CIA. I don't doubt that they put that plan in place way back when.
I mean, his mom and dad did meet in a Russian language class in Hawaii at the height of the Cold War when she was only 17. Like, what were they doing studying Russian? There's a lot of things there that, people just overlook because they don't know. They just don't know. His mom was 17 years old. She hooked up with a much older African who was in Hawaii learning Russian. I wonder what he was doing there learning Russian. Not to speak in Kenya, I know that for a fact. You know what I mean? And then she ends up with another CIA asset in Indonesia. I mean,
well,
is there a dating site for these people? Is there a dating site for these people? I don't know.
No, his grandmother, the woman that was the bank vice president in Hawaii, now revealed through declassified documents, she handled the CIA's financing in the Southwest Pacific.
Of course.
A CIA or a company employee. High level.
Of course. And her daughter was born into it, and so was her grandson. And there you have it.
Yeah, and there you have it. Yeah. All right, Curtis, Judge, what I am going to do, because we said a lot in a little bit of time, I'm going to splice this edit up and feature this as a part 1 and the part where you talked about Destiny Harrison's murder and also broke down vigilante justice. I am going to feature that as a part 2. So what I want to do right now is just have you set up what the people should expect in part 2. And I'm going to rush it just a little bit so I don't tarry too long and commandeer the people's time.
Well, I'm gonna let the judge have the last word. So I'm gonna say this first. My message is simple. All we got is us. As far as if I was to stumble on a crime in commission, a woman or man or whoever being attacked by anybody, black, white, Latino, whatever, the man in me would cause me to take action, depending on what the scenario is, would dictate what the action would be. As far as hurting people, the goons and so on and so forth, the only way I see to do it and get away with it is if you catch them in the act. And then you could exercise that and make an example of them if you catch them in the act. But all we have is us. And we got to love each other more. We got to focus more on loving each other than hating other people. Because we got a lot of emotion when it comes to anger and hate and fear. But we got to love each other more and care about each other more. And realize that, man, all we got is us. If you're going to call yourself a black man or black woman, then you got to put your blackness first. And if you want to call yourself anything else, that's fine too. But stop talking about black, because that's not what you're about.
I'll give you an amen on that one. I'll give you amen on that one.
No, thank you, Judge.
Let me say this. Vigilante action is against the law. As a historian, however, I would make the observation that from time to time it appears to have been very effective on coming to the defense of a woman who is in danger. Most states apply coming to the defense of a third person, apply the same standards to coming to the defense of a third person that they apply to self-defense. When either you or a third party is in danger of suffering death or serious bodily injury, you may defend yourself or defend them even to the point of using deadly force, even onto taking the assailant's life. Now, that is the standard for most states. I would suggest you check the law in the state you are in or consult with an attorney who can give you binding advisement. But if someone is threatening your life and under the circumstances it looks to you like you're in jeopardy of suffering death or serious bodily injury, you may use deadly force to defend yourself. Or you may do that to defend the third person. That's in most states. So I'm not saying what you can get out of this reading between the lines, but that's the law and a historical observation. The other thing is that there are these people who I heard, or their predecessors I heard 50 plus years ago, planning to take over the print media, the television, and the motion picture industries and control the way America thinks so that 4.5% can control the country. And they have been very effective. We as a people ought to look at what they've done and learn, because we are a much larger minority than they are. And we could probably control things a lot more effectively. They have the advantage, however, of being, for the most part, physically identifiable with the mainstream majority population. So unless they act out or appear as such, you can't tell what they are, so they have built-in camouflage. Another thing, urban camouflage, anybody listening, suit, tie, coat, jacket, shirt, tucked in, polished shine shoes, hair done like you're going to a business meeting. That's urban camouflage. but we tend to stand out. We've got purple, pink, yellow, blue, and gold in our hair. Looks like an alien space antenna on the top. We've got all kinds of gaudy nonsense, baseball cap at a felony angle, whatever. We identify ourselves as somebody that's suspect. Keep that in mind and understand the benefits of camouflage. The military uses it, and you can use it. And I will say this, it's awful hard for a cop to justify reasonable suspicion of somebody dressed up in a suit and tie.
Copy that.
21-year-old salon owner murdered in her own shop over the weekend. Tonight, we learned that she was afraid for her life. WMAR2 News' Abby Isaacs explains what court documents show. Abby.
Megan, 12 days before she was shot in the head at her beauty shop, Destiny Harrison filed charges against a couple who she said beat her and stole from her. Tonight, her grieving family is calling for justice.
She was my heart. All of us love her greatly. Just can't believe it.
A new mother, a loving daughter and niece, a beloved business owner.
Wonderful girl, entrepreneur, a go-getter. As you can see, she built this from the ground up.
Shot and killed in her Southeast Baltimore beauty salon Saturday evening.
Unbelievable. Some evil soul would do something like this.
Police say someone walked into Madame D Beauty Bar and shot 21-year-old Destiny Harrison in the head.
No respect for women whatsoever. To do this to a defenseless young lady who doesn't harm anyone, love everyone, it's senseless.
Just 12 days before her murder, Harrison said she was attacked in her salon when she confronted burglars. She wrote in a complaint that she found her neighbors inside, stealing hair bundles that she sells. When she tried to stop them, the couple beat her and took off with $3,000 worth of merchandise. She wrote, quote, "I'm scared for my life and business," end quote. They're now charged with assault, theft, and burglary. Police have not arrested anyone for her murder. They say there were other people inside at the time of the shooting and hope someone comes forward with information. Her family echoes that plea.
Somebody got to know something. Please come forward. You need to get these demonic souls here. They need to pay for their crime. There's no doubt about that. In the name of Jesus, there's no doubt.
Today's live broadcast was sponsored by myoliveleaf.biz. myoliveleaf.biz.
Hey guys, this is Valerie Denise Jones. Happy holidays to you. I wish you nothing except happiness, good health, and prosperity. Please, please, please go out of your way. Don't let nothing get you down, especially not health issues. No health issues like high blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetic blood sugar, eczema, none of that. X it all out. And if you need help or got questions concerning any of the issues I just mentioned, please visit myoliveleaf.biz. Again, myoliveleaf.biz. And if you want to talk to somebody, please call 612-567-3263. 612-567-3263. The guys over there at Team Olive Leaf will definitely be happy to assist you. Again, happy holidays. I love you guys to life. Talk soon.